Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA. Today myself and Luke are going to be doing a match review of the Wexford versus Clare Hurling League match. It finished Wexford 220, Clare 120. It was in Ennis. Clare were the home team, but Wexford went down to Clare and got the victory. And I mean, for Darragh Egan, the start doesn't get much better than that. I mean, first beating the All-Ireland champions Limerick and now going away to Clare and picking up the 2 points. Not a bad start for Egan, is it?
No. Look, I think it's pretty much the dream scenario. I think when you looked at the fixtures and saw that they were playing Limerick week 1, and then they'd have to travel to Ennis and play Clare, it's pretty much a nightmare kind of opening to the league. And the fact that they've come out with 4 points so far, like that, I don't know if you could even have imagined that it would have went so well from the start, particularly after that result against Dublin in the Walsh Cup. But they looked very, very good again. And you know what? The 3 points probably flattered Clare in this game. I think Wexford were far better than 3 point winners in this. So I think very positive signs, and particularly I think the fact that they played with the 2-man full forward line of Rory O'Connor and Conor McDonald, and they just looked unstoppable, I suppose, in there as well. So I think it provides a template for later in the year that, look, if they build around those two in the full forward line, and then you can have players like Mikey Dwyer, Jack O'Connor, Lee Chin, and then maybe put a workhorse like Charlie McGuckin, Oisin Foley, Liam McGovern in there as well to complement. And all of a sudden, it's a very, very strong forward line. So I think it pretty much ideal start for Wexford. They've got all the results and everything here as well. They're unearthing talent. And happy days for Darragh Egan so far.
Yeah, without doubt. And you mentioned about the way that they were playing. I mean, once again, the short passing was really on show. They were moving the ball through the hands just like under Davy Fitz. And I mean, he pointed that out. The one thing that was striking about the game was the 15 minutes where they were launching the ball in long to McDonald and Rory O'Connor, kind of aimlessly just launching the ball in on them. That's when Clare really stormed back into the game. But when Wexford were playing it through the hands, and Matthew O'Hanlon and Diarmuid O'Keefe were getting on the ball and being able to spray it across to Rory O'Connor, who was just on form, he was hitting everything over. They looked very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the type of ball that Rory O'Connor has to get, and you see that you see what he's capable of. And like last year, I think it was against Laois where he hit 1-7 from playing a championship game. He's capable of doing that all the time. And look, with Wexford with a sustained run into the championship, he's absolutely an all-star. So I think, look, they really just need to find a way to utilise him to the best of their ability. And but look, all of a sudden now, with the players I've already mentioned for that forward line, it's one of the top forward lines I think going. So I think they'll be delighted with kind of how they've unearthed this kind of talent already here. And the re-addition of Paddy Foley at centre back as well is absolutely huge. They really missed him last year as well. And look, I think with his size profile, his aerial ability, he can hit scores from long range too. It's absolutely huge having him back. So I think from a Wexford perspective, they'll be very, very happy. And look, I suppose we're going to get on to Clare now in a second. I think they'll be the opposite, that it's been pretty much a disaster kind of start to the league for them. And they really kind of need to find a bit of form fast. I know like they'll be fine staying up and everything like that, but they haven't shown an awful lot so far, and they'll be pretty disappointed that, like, look, without Tony Kelly, they haven't really looked the same here.
Yeah, but one of the key points is that it's not just Tony Kelly. I mean, you got Aaron Shanahan to come back into the team. You got Shane O'Donnell to come back into the team. Peter Duggan is coming back into the team. And then Tony Kelly is one of the best hurlers in the country. So they completely change when those lads come back into the side. This really took me by surprise anyway. Was John Conlon, who Brian Lohan had really kind of decided anyway was going to be his centre-half back. John Conlon started at centre-half forward and then spent a lot of the game in at full forward. And when he went in at full forward, that's when Clare really made a surge back into the game. And John Conlon was instrumental in the goal for Shane Meehan. I mean, he had 2 shots saved by Mark Fanning before it found its way to Meehan and to the back of the net. Where he plays Conlon is very interesting for me, because Conlon looked like he was growing into the centre half back position, and now he's up in the forwards. Like I've made it clear that personally I think he is more effective in the forwards. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, look, no, I found it strange as well, because with all the time that's invested into training him to be a centre half back last year, I really thought he was going to stay there. And as he got a bit older, I thought as well, sometimes for these players, when they lose that bit of pace kind of that they had beforehand, it's nearly easier to play centre half back and just kind of sweep in that role. you don't have to move around too much, and you can just use your natural instincts to read the game. So I would have thought that role would have suited maybe, but yeah, do you know what? We all remember kind of John Collin as the full forward, and look, in the year when Clare got so close to win the All Ireland, like when they were beaten by Galway in that semi-final replay, like he was imperious and full forward that year. He was absolutely unmarkable. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Look, if to give him another shot in there, see if he's still at that kind of standard, and if he is, look, happy days for Clare as well. It is a good point to make about Peter Duggan and Tony Kelly coming back in. That it will look very different later in the year. I just think the worry for Clare is that I'm not fully sure if the complementary pieces are there right now, because like I know, like you look at the scoreline here and they only lost by 3 points. It really didn't feel like that, and they just seem to be short in a few different positions. I know those additions will be huge coming back in for them, but it's just the question is whether they have enough to kind of keep competing, or if they're just going to be too reliant on the likes of Diarmuid Ryan and Cathal Malone to be the main complementary pieces to the fellows we've already mentioned.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how Lohan puts these stars back into the side and which players he decides to keep. Obviously, Mark Rogers is one that we picked out as being a serious talent. He did pretty well in this game, but it'll be interesting to see what Lohan does, how he molds the team in his image, and where John Conlon ends up. But for this game, Wexford leave Ennis with the 2 points. They win by 220 to 120. Perfect start for Darragh Egan, 2 from 2 in the league. So, guys, that is the Play On GAA reaction to the Wexford versus Clare game. It finished Wexford 220, Clare 120. Keep an eye out for all the other content across the channel. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. And until the next one, guys, take care.